Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Nate from Team Learning and Growing, and we are back. The king is back with Jose, who got top 8 at this weekend's Otakon Regional. Obviously, he's coming fresh off of another top 4 from in the PA Regional, and so he was able to get top cut at this one. Also, playing the same deck he played before. He was playing SS3. And he decided to pilot it again for this tournament. And so, so did you change the deck at all, or how did things vary from?
The main deck is exactly the same. There's a few cards different inside, but mostly the same deck. I like how it performed.
Okay.
I made some good choices. The deck is good.
It's really hard to play, though. Since the main deck is basically the same as the last, and if you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check out The King is Back, the last video we made for Jose, his deck profile. We are going to be focusing a little more on matchup specific stuff, as well as like how certain cards performed and if he would change any of them, rather than just going through the deck again. And so without further ado, we're going to get into it.
Alright, so this is the leader, SS3 Reboot. You ramp on the front. When you flip, at the end of your turn, you untap 3, mono blue. And when you swing with your leader, you gain 5k and you draw a card. So your leader is a 20k attacker, and that's the most important part, maybe. I play 3 Pan. These help you awaken. You take a life, she goes back to your hand. You need it for the early game sometimes. Or if you're against an aggro deck, you can side these out. But if it's a lower matchup, you need to keep them. Blue Unison, you know what it does, hopefully. Stays on the board, always a threat. Draws a card. Yeah. Protects you. Gogeta. It's a secondary unison that can help you close out games, or it's sometimes removal. It's pretty versatile. If you have a board for those Saiyans, it helps keep you safe sometimes. For Calamity, early pressure, cycles through your deck, early blocker. Yeah. Interceptor, removal piece, attacker. Sometimes you can counter when you have like 6 up, and like you go on, and they counter it. You can interceptor to remove parts of their board. For Gohan, one of your floodgates has a lot of uses.
So we're just rushing through the deck list just so we can get to the matchup specific. If you guys want more in-depth information on each specific card, you can go check out the last video we did about his deck profile.
Alright, it's Rumble, another floodgate. Doesn't duck under a Koizukai, so you probably want to use Gohan if you're getting Koizukai. 3 God Sealing. Not amazing, but sometimes you really want it, so you gotta play 3.
Would you ever go up to 4 or no?
Outside of 4th. 218. This card is good. You could probably bump it up to 3 or 4 if you want. There's a lot of like flex spots, and like you could replace a Calamity with one of these if you want to, or even a God Sealing, or even an Interceptor maybe. Depends what you want to do. How you want to play the game. Double Miraculous, Barrier, Trouble Strike. The rest mode thing came up a couple times, but mostly it's an offensive threat that doesn't leave. Ape, push through counters, removes threats, keeps your hatch safe with 5 energy up. Another flex spot. It's a 5th copy of Blue Unison. Previously, I was getting hit by Vegeta SCR on my Blue Unison, but now not so much, so it could come out. Baby Hatch, best SCR. Draw 2 super combo. Not playing like Zeno super combo kind of forces you to play in a weird way, but I really like just the draw power on this card. 3 chilled. It keeps you alive during the early game, and doesn't let you get hit from like 5 to 3, which is really good. This Beerus Realm, sometimes it acts like a. If you don't want to defend yourself using like a floodgate, on like turn 3, let's say, if your opponent is not doing much, you can just defend yourself with these and stay even in card advantage. Sensu Bean, great offensively and defensively. Lets you push on offensive turns, and even defensively. Let's say your Gohan gets Resolve Renewed, you can Sensu Bean up and do another one. 4D magic. You could probably go down to 3. You can side it out occasionally. Sometimes it just like untaps you though, so that's really good. Now the side deck. 3 Absolute Confidence. This is for all.
This was like an MVP or something, right? Like this did work, or?
Yeah, that was good. It is mostly for like. This is mostly for the all the yell decks playing triple attack Gohan, and this pretty much makes that matchup more winnable, because otherwise they could cooler counter you. Your Blue Unison can't bottom deck their threats, so the way you deal with their Unison attacking is with this card.
What does it do for those who don't know?
You pay 2 and you remove a marker during battle. This is another defensive measure you can play on your own turn. Not great against Unisons, but against battle cards it's great. W Sky. For decks that like to play on your turn, this is what you sided in for. Mostly blue, mostly yellow. Double Roshi. It grunt against something like U7. They're at high life, and you can control the board, but you have to work towards killing them. And this helps you crit them down so that they don't get card advantage as you're killing them. Triple God Slicing. This is a pretty good card. It's counterplay for 4 or less. It bottom decks whatever they're playing, so they can't. So they have to have another copy if they want to play that same card again. Against like Trunks Vegeta, it will bottom deck a Trunks from their hand, so they need another one. Against like Baby, for example, it would bottom deck their Floodgate instead of it being played, so they don't get the Floodgate effect. Yeah, that's about it. There's 1 Baby Ape, another Baby Ape in the side, and 2 Beerus. This was theory. I never got to put it into practice, but in theory it would deal with Bulma, bounce back their board, and replace their hand with 1-drops. And that's it.
Alright, so for more matchup specific things, like how did different matchups go? What did you feel? Because what did you go in Swiss?
I went 8 and 2 in Swiss.
X2. And so what decks did you see? What decks gave you problems? And what decks were complete blowouts for you?
I saw 4 U7. U7's a good matchup, I think.
Like you favored, or?
Yeah, I'm favored. You get to control the board. As soon as they awaken you, you're 20k. So like you swing at an Android 17, and then they have to give you 2 cards just to defend it, right? And once you play a Blue Unison down, they have to give you another 2 cards, or they have to have 2 negates. So you're forcing them to have answers, and then like, if you defend it properly, you'll be at like 4 life, which is where you want to be.
Do you think that this is very like? I know you and I have talked about this, and the team has talked about how like this leader in this deck really plays into your like a very value-oriented play style where you're like you clear their board a lot and then you kind of starve them of resources and then you beat them down when they're scrambling for scraps. But like what do you think about why how does it work in a I guess more aggro based matchups where you can't be as value oriented?
E7 is weird because they will stay at a high life as you're clearing the board and fighting their units. So you can't kill them. But against other aggressive decks, like let's say Majin Vegeta or Gogeta Xeno, ones that take their life down, you will most likely be able to kill them on your crackback turn. But if you can't kill them, like in the U7 scenario, you have to grind them out slowly. You gotta kill the battle cards, kill their unisons, floodgate them out of their turns, things like that.
All right. What matchups did you lose going
I
X2?
lost against Golden Frieza, played by 5th place Christopher Esposito, and I lost to Launch, which was the 2nd place after Swiss, Eric. Against Golden Frieza, I didn't see a pan early, and his leader doesn't have to attack me. And just not seeing a pan didn't let me awaken. Or if I did want to awaken in that scenario, then I would have to lose a bunch of cards, and I fell behind. And that's all that happened. Against Launch, he left me in an awkward position where I either had to ramp a life, or I had to just not ramp at all. And I would be at 5 life if I did ramp the life. I ended up ramping the life, and on the next turn he used triple Broly Crown and he killed me that turn. So that was rough.
And then you played in top 8, and you played against the eventual winner of the tournament, Mike, playing his baby deck. And so how did that matchup go? Because that was best of 3 when the rest of when Swiss was best of 1 pre-side. How did that affect you going into top 8?
Game 1, I didn't see a unison until like turn 12 or so.
And these games go to turn 12. Like,
yeah.
Baby versus SS3 go that far, unfortunately.
Yes. I was ahead on board. I didn't see the unison. And because I couldn't see a unison, my only answers to floodgates were Baby Ape and God Sealing. But with God Sealing, without the unison on board, I can't realistically like push through a lot of the floodgates. But with Baby Ape, it's much easier. So that kind of just lost me the game. Game 2, I won after sideboard. Game 3 was a weird game. He forgot to put out Planet Tuffle. I played really hard into Akami, and I baby aped an Oceanus on a game shot swing, but I forgot to continue the battle. I just immediately swung with something else, but by that point it was accepted game state, so I couldn't just combo out for the game. So whatever.
Yeah. So obviously there are no more big tournaments, maybe until Zenkai, and then obviously you've gotten your invite now twice for nationals.
Yep.
So what are you looking forward to going into Zenkai, going into Nats format? What's something you're excited for, or something that you're thinking about?
Zenkai is gonna be interesting. It's gonna give me new tools.
Do you think that this deck plays well into what Zenkai is looking to bring? Do you think you're going to be swapping off it? I know, that's a big conversation that, we're having with a lot of players, where is their deck going to be transitioning well into Zenkai?
I bet it probably plays well into Zenkai. It doesn't play well into the Zenkai mechanic, but it still probably plays well into Zenkai, the actual format, because you now have more threats in your Z deck. That's every deck, but your threats in blue, them just having barrier are really big. So that means a lot. Yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
You get 2 barrier triple strikers, and one of them has hand control, so that's sick. And you get to pay the 5 energy and untap the 3, or untap 4 with blue, or untap 5 with the 1 Goku. So yeah, I think it leans into this deck really well.
All right. Any shout outs? Anyone, anything you want to bring up?
Team lag.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Team lag. Every
the thing that really helped was the Hirudegarn Storm Mirror matches me and Noel did. The eventual first place Swiss. I eventually beat him in the tournament, but that's because like I grinded out the Hirudegarn Storm Mirror matches with him, and I know how he plays, so that gave me the edge.
And obviously we did Adrian's deck profile before, and he ended up playing Pat and Ishmael, which are both Team Lag members, and you played Noel. Did you play any other Lag members? You played Espo also, right?
I also played Espo.
And so you played, this. It was really awesome because Team Lag really showed up, and top tables were full of us, our members.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you guys were playing against each other a bunch. But do you think that playing against your teammates has an effect on the way you play or the way they play around what you do? Like obviously we test against each other a lot. Or you scrape them up regardless.
You just try your best. Play well. Just play well. That's what I keep saying. Just play well. Yeah.
All right. Thanks
it
for
got
that.
Me to time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna see you at Nats once again. If you guys see any of the red hoodies walking around any venues, please come up and say hi. And we'll catch you at the next event. Peace out, guys.
Later.